everyone, welcome back to my little corner of the internet, and today I want to talk about Copycat Killer. So, Copycat Killer is a show on Netflix. It caught me completely by surprise. I did not see that coming. I am traumatized and in love at the same time. So, Copycat Killer is a Taiwanese drama, and it's based on a book. So the whole story takes place in 1997, where a prosecutor works with the police to find basically a series of missing girls. When the hand of a woman is found in a park, the prosecutor realizes that some of the markings on that hand have lots of similarities to a previous case that was deemed solved. Like, the killer is already in jail. Things don't seem to be as they initially appeared, though, and the investigation gets more and more convoluted and dangerous and complex and kind of insane. So, first things first, regarding this show, there's a huge trigger warning for just about anything and everything possible. Violence, sexual assault, suicide, animal abuse, just everything. Take care of yourself and stay away if this is an issue. Second of all, which is still probably connected to first of all, this is not an easy breezy watch. The show is 10 episodes long, and each episode is around an hour, which usually isn't difficult for me. I like, some shows are like that. K-dramas are like that, even more episodes, and you can watch those in like 2-3 days. It's not a problem. But here, the subject, the way everything is filmed, it was very, very, very hard to watch. Like, in the beginning, I could only watch around an episode a day, and even then, like, I had to take like breaks. Not so much like active breaks of like, ooh, I need a moment, but like I found myself pausing a lot, getting a glass of water, doing something else, coming back to it. And at no point it was because it was boring. I have to stress that. It's just, it takes a toll, I think, on your psyche. So be warned. I don't think the show is more violent or gory than anything else on TV in recent years, but there's something about the pacing, the acting, the cinematography, the editing, the music. It makes the show very heavy and hard to watch. However, I think the show is worth the watch. It's incredible. I absolutely loved it, and I will think about it for a long time. I don't know if I'll be able to revisit it anytime soon, but I can't recommend it enough. Honestly, the acting was just masterful. Especially Kang Ren-woo, who plays our protagonist Xiao-Chi. My god, so much emotion on such a stoic face. He was so composed and calm for 90% of the time. So when he did raise his voice, or worse, really, it was jarring and amplified and it felt warranted. You're like, oh, things are really serious now. The supporting cast is also top notch. There isn't a single one I would point out as bad. Impeccable work from everyone. They really got the chin wavering while trying to prevent yourself from crying face down to a T. It was very impressive to see. I also loved how, even though I have no idea what Taiwan was like in 1997, it felt like it was 1997. The computers, the cars, the fashion, the stupid amount of indoor smoking, it all felt very correct. There are quite a few strong female characters, and they're all varied and interesting and just kind of. We have the rookie reporter, played by Cami Chang, and the chemistry between her and our prosecutor is really great. They take care of each other and they help each other a lot. Then we have the network's star producer, played by Ruby Lin. They introduce her as this terrible and ambitious woman who, may or may not have slept her way to the top. In fact, she's extremely capable, she's intelligent, and yes, sometimes vicious when it comes to her career. Still, she's our rookie reporter's mentor, and she really tries to help her out in a genuine, do your job better type of mentoring. Our last main supporting woman is Yoon Hui. She's played by Cha Yang-kuo, and she is a psychologist and our prosecutor's ex-girlfriend. She helps with the case, but ends up being way more involved than anyone intended or wanted to. She also works closely with the prosecutor, and her chemistry with him is also wonderful. In a more American hands, there would have been a big focus on a love triangle here, but there really isn't. Shao-Chi himself is described as meticulous and is not very well liked by the police or his prosecutor colleagues. They see him as a hindrance more than anything, but quickly learn to appreciate that meticulousness when this case comes around and he is able to connect the dots and make progress where they weren't able to before. I also really enjoyed how they showed us his meticulous nature with the first case in the show. I thought it was very clever and really drove the intention home. I also really liked the way the story unfolded. I thought it was very interesting. We got to experience things through the lens of both the kidnapped and the families, because the kidnapper likes to torture both, which is probably why the first half of the show is so hard to watch. There's no real point where things are lightened up. It stays pretty dark and heavy for quite a while. I felt like the second half of the show, quote unquote, lightens up a bit, but gets more violent. It's hard to explain, really, but maybe it's because I'd gotten used to the ambience of the show. Probably thinking back on it, it doesn't get better, you know. It's not like suddenly we have jokes and stuff, but maybe because there's some breakthroughs in the case and the focus is shifted to resolving and solving it rather than showing the actual crime. Maybe. There were two things that did bother me. The first one is the title of the show as it pertains to the story. It's not really clear why the show is called Copycat Killer until the very end. It didn't bother me, but it distracted me a bit because the entire time I was wondering why the show was called Copycat Killer when at any point of any given time it doesn't seem to be a copycat killer. So it was a little distracting. The second thing did actually bother me, and that was Shao-Chi's pill use. So the focus on it was so distracting because it kept feeling like it was going to lead up to something, but it really didn't. In a show where everything is meticulously placed, this struck me as distracting. I'm talking about like actual focus shots on him taking the pills, like taking a break from what's happening so that he could get, receive more pills. Again, he's not an addict. They're not trying to portray him as an addict. He has headaches, gets pills. They are completely legal. Everything about it is fine, but the focus on it was odd and it didn't lead to anything. It was very, very distracting in that regard. I kept waiting for it to evolve to something, but it never did. But seeing as that was really the only thing that really bothered me, I can't really complain now, can I? Even though I just did. This is what this little video is for. So some plot points are more obvious than others, and some are really surprising. I want to leave this video as spoiler-free as possible, because if I start talking about specific plot points, the video will be like 5 hours long. But one last thing I want to mention is how the show tries to squeeze empathy from us, the viewers, for almost all of the characters on the screen, be it a bad father, a bratty daughter, a lone prosecutor, or a murderer. They don't try to excuse their actions, but it does help us become a lot more invested in everyone. It's truly one of the best points of the show, in my opinion. And overall, I really can't recommend Copycat Killer enough. It is superb. One of the best crime shows I've ever watched, and probably top 5 on Netflix alone. I don't want a second season of it. I think it is wrapped up so beautifully, it should be left as is. So please watch it if you haven't. And if you have, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have any similar shows that you recommend? I would love to know. Thank you as always for watching. I'd appreciate it if you could like this video or dislike the video. Either is fine. Gently press that subscribe button for more reviews. Check out some other videos while you're over here, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This is the best eyeliner I've had in a while. Nice.